Joe Heiser.
Here.
Tony Stolzman.
Here.
Susan Jett. Present. Ron Page is absent.
Silence. Okay, need approval for the agenda. Susan makes the motion. I'll second. Joe seconds. All in favor? All right, let's go ahead and engineering updates and timelines. We want to just go and let Jeremy do his discussion first.
Jerry, can you hear Tony?
I cannot.
Oh, I do know Tony.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you go ahead and we'll let you speak first before we ask any questions.
What, is there any particular thing you'd like me to address? The dam's in pretty poor condition, as you've seen. This is a program to explore and assess primarily, give us an idea of initial design, initial analysis to ensure we think it needs improvement. This will tell us for sure if it does or not, if it's stable geotechnically. Information on the survey, information on the size of the hydraulic features, spillway, and things like that.
Very great. So, questions?
Yes, anything I can answer for you.
Let me just make sure for public too. The dam, from what we said last week, has been upgraded to urgent. Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
Right, and that means that we are looking at a high risk of safety issues, correct?
In my assessment, you have your active, ongoing signs of distress.
And so what we're looking at here is basically phase one. And from reading this, I know Joe has all read this, we can read this, is, I guess in layman's terms, it looked like there'd be an initiation phase where you get things set up, and an investigation phase where you're doing the boring and getting the sensors, and then the survey, that's where you get all the final conclusions of what you all the data that you receive, and then from there we decide what we need done, and you'll help us with the design and with the funding from the Arkansas State of Arkansas. That kind of
So,
basically.
Yes, and phase 2 and 3 are somewhat overlapped. They're not do 2 and then do 3. They interweave with each other. It's just 2 different teams from Olson, one our geotechnical branch and 2 our surveying branch. Then from there, we take the data that they developed and we analyze the current conditions of the dam, primarily from a hydraulic and slope stability perspective. And if we determine from those analyses that it is not sufficient as it is, then we start developing a concept of a plan to give us some sort of idea of what we're shooting at. And from that concept, we develop a preliminary cost estimate and a cost to do the full engineering design and design that work for you. Then after that, and would include bidding support services in that work as well, helping you identify contractors you might want to work with and that kind of thing. Any funding support we can help with, we'll do our best. We have some folks at Olson who assist in grant writing and things like that. Since we're relatively new to the Olson family, having just been acquired last year, I haven't personally had the opportunity to work with any of those grant writers, but I do know that we do have them in-house construction, where we would do an additional scope of services for you to monitor construction and answer contractors' field questions, evaluate their pay applications, and all that kind of stuff. And that's normally required for dam work because it has to be certified in order to be approved by the dam commission. And in order for us to certify it, we have to have full-time inspection services.
Jeremy, my questions will be all superficial, ranging from, do you have public relations people that will help us write the announcements and stuff?
What other questions do we have?
Okay, everybody's on mute, so unmute yourself, Susan, and ask me.
Okay, you can just now.
He didn't hear, he's, nobody. Hold on.
Okay. Jeremy, my questions are going to be on the superficial line. And the first one, because I'm not the deepest thinker in the room, but do y'all have a public relations department that can help us prepare the announcements and the notifications that we have to get to all residents?
So we can do this one of two ways. I can whip up something for you. This is just generally what's going on. If you want us to do something that goes through a marketing department and things like that, I'm sure I can do that. I haven't included any of that in the budgeting, but
Part of the reason I was asking these questions because I want to make sure that we get all the legalese in there so that nobody can start saying something that's not right. And that's my question. I want to make sure that nobody can pick the detail out of it, or this is what they're going to do. And it has to be a big notification. That's just one.
the lake and the dam are the improvement district's assets, correct? So what you do with your asset is, your adjacent landowners may not like it, but I don't know that there's a lot legally they can do to stop you, especially when if it's not done, it's going to become very problematic potentially in the future.
I would think along the lines of a teaspoon of sugar with a tablespoon of medicine, kind of thing.
I understand.
You work with us enough to know how people are here, so this is the least important question. It's not the least important question because we need to know what's happening. As far as the assessment, one of the questions I had, and maybe y'all already talked about it, Betsy, is do you have a list of contractors who would be willing to do the work that we can hire and clothe and house while they're here? Because that was one of the questions I got in mind.
So as far as the work under this contract, it's all Olson employees.
So this is okay to the next phase before we're just doing surveying right now.
The survey and geotech, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the entire scope of services that's proposed in the letterhead proposal that was sent to you is the 4 phases there from the February 17th letter are all concurrent, essentially.
So, and part of this, you have to shut down this Coyer Ridge Road that goes over the dam, right? The dam road.
Yes, sir. It will probably just be shut for a short time. Olson is extremely safety conscious. I had originally intended to do it, construct it down to 1 lane of traffic. But with access around it, I don't think that'll be a problem. And if it does become a problem, we can come to a different understanding. We can work, in restricted hours, things like that if we need to. But it's not going to be shutting down Dam Road. Shouldn't take more than a week. I'm tempted to say it should take more than 4 days, but be a little more conservative. So you're saying, yes, just for phase one, it'll shut down for a week. For construction, I really can't tell you. Right now, I'm thinking it's probably gonna have to be in more extended duration, based on what we find with seepage. You may be doing some, deep injection off the backside of the road, so that might be shut down for a fairly extended period of time. To the matter of a couple of months, you're not talking years or anything like that for sure. But
So when would this phase of this what we're doing here, with your contract, that's gonna last us probably at least October, is what I'm saying.
So yes, it's scheduled to run through October, but the field work portion of that is 10 to 12 days, I think, is what the geotechs have involved. They're not going to spend all that on the road.
So we're not looking at construction until at least after October.
At very best, you would probably be doing construction, assuming everything falls into place, we get all the permitting done, and you've got funding lined up and everything like that. If you start construction for summer of 2026, that is probably a best case scenario.
Would we be waiting all that time before we would drill down the lake?
That's really kind of a question for you guys. If you're getting nervous about it, depending on what we find, and when we do the stability analysis from the initial assessment, if we find that it's really unstable as is, we might recommend that you go ahead and pull it down, just because the factor of safety is less than 1. You don't want to. Right now, you don't know that, and so you're safe operating as is. It was designed by an engineer, 50 years ago, who said it was fine. You think it's fine. You've got nothing telling you otherwise. But as soon as we do the analysis and if we prove that it is fine currently, we don't have to do anything. If we prove that it's questionable, then it's just how risk adverse does the commission want to be. If you think it's bad, we've told you it's bad, and something happens after that, and you haven't taken an action, you're putting yourself at a bit of a risk, in my opinion. But I'm not a lawyer, so I don't even want to play it.
Okay, I'm Joe Kaiser, Commissioner, and I've read through the 22 pages of this, and I went to sleep 2 or 3 different times as I was reading it, and then woke myself back up.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, and it's very technical information. I understand in phase one that we are going to be boring or drilling, for a more simple term, down. Is it into the sub? Like, are we going to hit some rock there, or like? When we hit that, are we going to measure the rock? Is that what they're looking for, or what is the boring actually going to accomplish?
So there are two things. First off, we need to really identify and characterize the soils that are on top of the rock. In most cases, once we got to the rock and got a few feet into it to identify it well, we would be done. In this case, based on the amount of seepage that we've seen coming through the abutment, particularly over on the west side of the dam, inside the spillway area, between the spillway, the dam, and the groin, we think there's significant seepage within the rock itself. And so, based on, we're probably going to, in the borings that are planned on that side, core at least 20 feet to kind of see if the rock is really fractured, if there are a bunch of weathered seams and things like that. It's kind of going to be a game we're going to have to play in the field. Once we see what we're getting, we'll revise what the plan is. And our geotechs are really mad at me right now because I made them give me a cost on this for just a bulk linear footage of coring, and then a bulk linear footage of well piping from piezometers for measuring water levels. And they really like to say, okay, we're going to do this right here, and that's all we're going to do. And I was not comfortable with that. So they squawked, but they finally gave in. They gave me the pricing structure I needed to protect you guys and not get us out there and get us us in a situation where we're gonna drill 5 feet into the rock, and I feel like we need to go a lot more, and then we have to scramble and get you guys to approve a change order midstream. So,
And also in that, they were talking about the matting for the mud and so forth, the track over whatever the drilling devices are, that we would be responsible for providing that. And if I read through that correctly, it said that we would be responsible for their paying everybody's meals during the day and also for mileage travel, I guess, to get to work. Is that the way I'm understanding that correctly?
that's correct. So it's two different things, really. The first is the reimbursable expenses. So we did that in our normal contracts. We would just pick out whatever, hotel room a night that our guys would stay in and bill that. Or, it's $100 a night per head, and they're going to make $50 a day per diem to cover their meals. With you guys having the ability to house folks on site, we were able to, I wanted to give you the option to be able to take that back in-house. When I did the initial assessment on the dams, Betsy put me up in one of the places up on the hill, not far from the site, and it was perfectly acceptable for that kind of stay. And so I was trying to save you a little bit of money. The mileage and the meals, that kind of thing would all normally be thrown into a lump sum price, which would have been higher, as would have been the lodging. As far as clearing and matting and things like that, those are services. Based on the size of you guys and the fact that I saw a road department up there, I'm betting there's some small equipment around, or you guys have better connections locally than we do to get good pricing on this. And we're not talking about, trying to build a super highway in. This is a track-mounted drill rig. It can't crawl up the side of this dam, but it can do a lot of things. So just laying trees over and putting, timber rig mats out to access our spots. And if that's not something y'all are comfortable with, we can seek out that guidance and include it in our fees as well.
So it's not major tree removal, it's just small scrub trees and so forth. If we get into big gigantic trees, these guys around here will try to retire cutting 2 or 3 of those trees. So we need to make sure that we're not mowing down gigantic oaks to get in there, I guess, unless we can come up with another option. But that really was all my questions. You've answered them, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we can, if we pick out a spot in the field, we kind of think we know where we're going to drill, but in our kickoff meeting, I'll be bringing the surveyor and the geotech over, and we'll walk around and really see what we got to do, and we'll try to flag routes, or walk with Betsy or whoever she might have to clear and talk about what we really have to have.
Right. Okay.
And if at that time you decide that now this is more than we want to buy it, then we could come back and readjust the proposal. One thing I do want to point out, though, is if you get federal money tied up in this project, and therefore you have what's called a federal nexus for clearing for any of the permitting and core work and things like that, they get really, really, really picky about when and where you can cut trees. Right now, as a private group, you go out and cut any timber you want, it's not a problem. As soon as federal dollars get involved and you start having to do things like bat studies and limit construction and clearing into certain windows and all sorts of things like that.
So while this takes place, it'd be a good idea for all of us to move to Australia. Is that right? And then come back after it's done. So. Okay. I'm joking. I'm sorry. So go ahead. That's my questions. You answered them. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dave, do you have any questions?
Hey, Betsy, can you unmute your mic? I'm sorry.
Say it
Say it
again.
again. mute your mic, whoever else was speaking.
Go ahead, Betsy.
So we have not worked with any of the in-house grant writers to do any of the things, any of this. It's not included in our current scope. And if that's an avenue we really need to pursue, I can try to move forward in that way. But the other thing, right now, it's kind of premature, in my opinion, to go ask for a grant because we don't even know what we really need. You know, if you go and ask for $500,000, that may not touch this in the long run. So once we finish the scope of services we've proposed currently, and we've developed full engineering costs at a full crude construction estimate, then we know what your target really is, and we can try to seek funding there. As far as the state goes, WIT is going to love the fact that you're actively involved in trying to improve your dams. We have not reached out to her actively on this specifically, but she is aware and has seen the most recent inspection, or the 2024 inspection. I don't know if she said it was 2025 yet or not, because I haven't provided Betsy with those PDFs yet, unfortunately. Sorry, Betsy.
David,
and Jeremy, I did forward, sorry, we're trying to keep our microphone.
I did forward your proposal, and I notified the state already after our meeting last Sunday. I just haven't heard back from her yet. But she has been kind of in the loop since we found initially in November of '23. I tried to keep them in the loop and knowing what's going on. So at this point, we haven't applied for it. Okay. Anything else, David? Okay. Okay.
You're muted, Betsy. I don't know if you were still trying to talk.
No.
All right, thank you, Joe. Do we have any other questions? Joe?
that's something kind of ongoing. You know, we're gonna notify them of what we've learned from today and how we vote to move forward, but then I think ongoing, there's gonna be information we're gonna share, correct?
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, I haven't built into our budget any like public meetings or anything like that. I can certainly do that if needed, but, you know, if it's an issue of us typing you up a dear resident letter for you guys to post to whatever community forum or mail or stick on doors or whatever, we can certainly do that, without asking for additional services there. If it's something where we need to mail it to, 20,000 residents, we're gonna have to ask for postage.
Yeah. I think we can take care of all of that part. That's just, something I'm thinking I want the residents to know as we finish with phase one. What did we find? What's the next steps? Kind of keep them informed in that way. Your task 4 and 5 says permitting and funding assistance, and it looks like you put 15 man-hours in this proposal for that.
So
And,
that is we'll do what we can,
right,
up to the, we'll give you that amount of time.
okay,
And, I don't know what that's gonna look like.
okay.
That's really what with and the ARD, everybody has to look at it. I put it in there. I think I estimate include almost all that at my time. So if it winds up being that I can put in one of our sciences that earns a slightly lower raise,
Right.
that might become 60 man hours, instead of 50, as you pay them just a little less.
The other day, I asked you a question about how this, big number gets paid, and, as I understood, is that there would be, I guess, monthly invoices, and as the work goes through, then that's how we would pay for that. It's not a one lump sum of $255,000 to get started.
That's
So,
correct. So
that'll-
also typically invoices every 4 weeks. So it hits a little more often once a month. It's not always first or anything like that.
That's okay.
I think they request most everything done for automatic clearinghouse.
We just lost him, Dave. It might have been an hour. I think that's what happens. Let's see if we can sign back in. Hold on. Let's see if we can get back to him. Hold on. Okay. Are we all there? Oh, I'm sorry too. I was trying to merge those calls. Hold on. I'm gonna try to get David over with us. David and Jeremy, I got y'all together? Hello? Okay, David, ask Jeremy your question.
Okay, Jeremy, what I was wondering, you know, you're gonna be kind of coordinated now. Will we get weekly reports from you on what's been done every day and everything? Every day. So normally we would do a progress report with billing. And if we need to do something a little more frequently, we can do that. I can send Betsy an email or, you know, at a certain point, you know, there are going to be spots where, you know, nothing's going to happen because our resources are going to be diverted to other projects. You know, we will have an internal schedule. These are the things that we should be working on now. And, you know, when we think things are going to happen, but, you know, every plan is great until the first shot is fired. Right. I'm yet to have one, you know, go just like it's laid out on paper. Yeah, well, I used to be, for the federal government, I used to be a contract representative for the federal government, and I had to fill out a journal every day stating what the contractors were doing. So that's the only reason I want to know if we're going to have feedback from you on what's going on. So in construction, we would actually have, we do detailed field logs like that. As far as in the design process, we've never really had to do anything like that. If we need to implement something that way, I'm sure we could. Well, just coordination costs at a touch. I imagine as long as we're getting your bill, we'll be getting something. Yes, sir. So normally with our billing, you'll get billing backup. That actually in a lump sum project, you'll just get the invoice. So no, I can definitely do a progress report that summarizes in generally what we worked on. You know, this month we spent doing hydraulic modeling of the dam and its existing conditions and looked at an alternative configuration for the primary spillway. You know, that kind of thing. Okay, I appreciate it. No problem. And if for some reason in the first one you don't get that, Betsy, remind me.
Okay.
Because Olson doesn't typically do those like FTN did. And so I may need to send them separately from the billing.
Okay, as long as it's not gonna cost us a fortune.
No. I mean, a one-page summary of, hey, this is how we spent your money is not, I'll do it at the same time. I mark up your invoicing because I'll be looking at, you know, even though we're not sending you hourly billing, we still track hourly billing, and I get all the notes on, you know, Jim Bob spent 3 hours looking at AutoCAD for the spillway, you know, spillway analysis. Great. And so I'll digest those notes a little bit and take them from a 2-foot level to a 20,000-foot level.
Okay.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, what do y'all want me to do with this? Because now we're both on my phone, because the Zoom is over.
Okay, so we can take Jeremy to that.
Are y'all finished with Jeremy? Jeremy, it looks like we're going to be finished with you. David, do you want me to call you back and add you back to the meeting?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
If you have any questions,
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
I knew I should have finished college to become an engineer.
got you back live.
Even though Chris had left anymore. The sun is in
The thing about reading about, the thing about reading this 22-page report that we have for a week is there's so many incredible descriptions of the equipment, what they propose they're going to have to do. I have a computer, I have a dictionary, I'm not a favorite dictionary, so I can look up some of the words and throw them in the margins. This is going to be a fascinating project.
It's incredibly thorough in the 22-page document. I was shocked.
Please talk in your microphones.
It's a lot different than just going out and kicking the dirt and sticking a stick in the mud to see how far it is. It's very, very technical, well thought out. I mean, that's an extremely good report. I had no earthly idea there would be that kind of work involved in doing something like that, but it is a lot of work.
So I guess what we learned today for all the property owners too is until the survey is done and their analysis is done, we do not know at what state we're going to have to do with the dam and as far as when we're going to do any drawdowns of the lake until we get these analyses and all this survey and analysis is done. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that if anybody's asking, when are we doing this, when are we doing that, we won't know until Olson finishes their job and comes up with a plan, then we can decide if it is something urgent, as he says, that there is a problem right away, we may have to do a drawdown, we have to, of course, get everybody, coordinate that with everybody, and if not, then we get all the construction plans together, then we draw down. We will get the information out. As soon as we know it, let's make sure everybody will know. So, I mean, that was what we do. Yeah, I'm not gonna, they should know. Everybody should know.
I'm friends with the world market.
Yeah, so just, if anybody says anything like, oh, they're gonna do this, until we find out from Olson where we're at with the dam, we won't do anything until we get that. He discussed the possibilities with us, what might happen, so we are prepared for that as well. So,
Did I understand him correctly? Is there a possibility that maybe it's not as urgent as they thought when they drilled and they may not have to do anything? It's possible. Right.
it just depends on what
It's
they find.
possible you're not going to owe any taxes next year, but you probably are. So, okay.
So tell people how much everything is going to cost us, the base price for this assessment.
They said the base was $255, right?
$255,000 is what they have quoted for the phase one.
Right.
And I know everyone's question is how do we pay for it? We've got a little over $1 million in our working warrant account, so we have funds to pay for it that way. We
Correct.
also have a CD that we put prepaid assessments in a few years ago that exceeds that amount, that if we needed to pull from that in case of an emergency or something of that sort, then we would have that backup. I don't think we have an option. I think this has to be done. The most positive thing that I heard today was that we have until possibly Memorial Day to know whether or not we're going to draw down the lake. And that needs to be spread throughout the community, that we will know before Memorial Day. And then we have spoken to a dock company that will disassemble the marina at Sequoia, and we will float that marina over to Thunderbird. So no one is going to lose their slips. They've already gotten those slips, they've already paid for those slips, and nobody will lose those slips. But the slips will be moved to Thunderbird instead of being on Sequoia.
Also, we had talked before about the gate at Thunderbird at the bridge. Are we going to look into doing something with that motor so we can get that operational?
Well, there's no motor on it. Right now, it's pulled up and chained up.
Yeah.
So I would say that when we figure out if we're drawing down Sequoia,
Then we just
then
let that.
once we move that marina over, we drop that gate. Let's see if it's gonna Yes, sir.
Just remember, even if that gate doesn't hold it, it will only drop Thunderbird about 8 foot.
We were told 4. We were
I
told,
think the canal's a little deeper than that.
I don't think the canal's much deeper than that, but it's quite a bit deeper on the other side of the canal when you get to Thunderbird.
Yeah.
So 4 foot is what's been estimated by the dock guy as well as our lake management person. That's something we've talked about. What if?
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well, I think all we can do is just wait for the report now.
Well, yeah, somebody needs to make a motion to accept this proposal.
is there a motion to accept the proposal?
I was making the motion.
Susan has motion to accept the proposal. Do I have a second?
Can you hear all this, David? Susan made the motion. I'm sorry. Susan made a motion. Looking for a
Susan
second.
made a motion. We need a second.
Did David?
Is David seconded? Okay, so we have a second, the motion to accept the Olson contract for this first phase of the dam. Is there any more discussion that we need? All in favor? Aye. David?
All in favor, David?
Aye.
All right, no nays, nobody abstains. The motion passes.
All right.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So you motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Will you second it? Well, she's already made the motion.
Sorry, I will second that.
Second, Joe seconds it, all in favor? Aye. Motion adjourned.